I'm Dionne Walsh and I'm a rangeland ecologist. Been doing my work for about 25 years. I was born and bred in the River Murray and spent a lot of my childhood working in the family orchards and vineyards, and just love spending a lot of time out bush, and naturally fell into biology and things like that at uni and ended up in rangeland science. I think the beef industry is just one of the very few industries on earth that is based on an infinitely renewable resource base. It's such a rare thing to have available to you, and there's not too many industries that can really claim to be based on something that you can just renew over and over again every year. I think one of the really exciting things is that the authors of the ABR really recognise that the financial performance of businesses really relates directly back to biological performance. So you've got the soil biology, plant biology and livestock biology, and if you manage that biology really, really well, the financials of the business can perform really well as well. And it's quite unusual for people to be able to stitch all that together. So to me, it was a real no-brainer to be able to contribute that biological side to the story and help people understand how those things mesh together. I think one of the things I would certainly recommend is, if you're new to an area or taking on a new property, there's just a lot of really good quality independent advice available to people now that perhaps wasn't there in the past. And so people can do a lot more due diligence about what it is that they're taking on. And I guess the most important thing in all of that is having a really good understanding of what that piece of country is truly capable of. One of the issues I see is that quite often properties are stocked sort of more than they should be for financial reasons. Often it might be because you're selling the place and you want to get a really good sale price, or you may wish to borrow money, and so having more inventory on the place helps with that process quite often. But unfortunately that ends up in some sort of death spiral where people then try to maintain those high numbers on country for too long, and inevitably run into sort of poor seasons and land condition crashes, and the cycle perpetuates. So if people can do their due diligence and really understand what country's capable of, they have the opportunity then to run that truly sustainable and financially successful business in the long term. I think from my experience, I've been very privileged to work with producers in South Australia, Western Australia, and now in the Territory for the last 20 years. And the recurring themes with those that are really successful at what they do, there's probably three main things. The first thing is that they've discovered that less is more. So they've worked out that if they provide really good nutrition to their individual animals, individual animal performance is enhanced. And so you can have the best genetics in the world, for example, but if those animals aren't being well fed, those genetics don't have a chance to express themselves fully. So getting the nutrition right, and often that's about making sure you're matching carrying capacity and stocking rate to each other through the seasonal variation that's experienced. Successful producers also think in the kilos produced rather than the number of head that they're running. And it makes sense to me because kilos is actually what you get paid for. You don't get paid necessarily for the number of head on the place. It's the kilos going on the truck and out the door, and successful producers work out how they can optimise the number of kilos for the feed resource and the financial resources that they've got. And finally, really great producers measure their animal performance, and they identify poor performing animals in their herds and get rid of them and replace them with better performing animals. And they also monitor their resource base to make sure that they're matching the feed supply and the animal demand in any given year. My advice would be ask for the evidence for what people are promoting or recommending. Ask for the scientific evidence to show that that is going to be beneficial to your business. But at the end of the day, it's the really boring, bland, unsexy fundamentals that really make businesses perform. So it is things like matching stocking rate to carrying capacity, and looking after your land condition and measuring animal performance. And those things sound really boring, but they're the fundamentals that give you the biggest leg up in the business. And once you've got those things firing really, really well, then you can go out and look at other things to tweak that business a bit. And I guess finally, at the end of the day, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You know, there's some really outstanding producers out there, and there's some really practical, helpful researchers and extension people available to you. Tap into all of that you can, and, you know, get a really broad understanding of how people can help you in your business. Seek those people out. And I've always believed that, you know, great things happen when the science and the practical experience of producers collide together. You can really make these businesses fire really well.